जय श्री श्री गुरु गौरांग गंधार गिरिधारी शिष्य राधा विनोद बिहारी जू की जय। श्री गोविंद गोपीनाथ मरन मोहन जू की जय। नित्यल्प विष्णु विष्णुपार अष्टतर शत शिष्यमार भक्ति वेदांत नारायण गोसाई महाराज श्री गुरुदेव की जय। नित्यल्प विष्णु विष्णुपार अष्टतर शत शिष्यमार भक्ति वेदांत वामन गोसाई महाराज की जय। नित्यल्प विष्णु विष्णुपार अष्टतर शत शिष्यमार भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी महाराज श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। नित्यल्प विष्णु विष्णुपाद अष्टतर शत शिष्यमार भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोसाई प्रभुपाद की जय। नित्यल्प विष्णु महाभागवत श्रील गोक्षर बाबाजी महाराज की जय। नित्यल्प विश्व श्रील सच्चिदानंद भक्ति विनोद ठाकुर की जय। नित्यल्प विष्णु वैष्णव सार्वभौम श्रील जगन्नाथ बाबाजी महाराज की जय। श्री रूपानुगवर्य गुरु वर्ग की जय। श्री रूप सनातन भट्ट रघुनाथ श्री जीव गोपाल भट्टदास रघुनाथ शार गोसाई प्रभु की जय। श्री स्वरूप दामोदर राय रामानंदारी श्री गौर पार्षद वृंद की जय। नाम जय श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासरी गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री क्षेत्र मंडल गौर मंडल व्रज मंडल मथुरा वृंदावन धाम की जय। सर्व अभिष्ट प्रदाथ गिरिराज महाराज की जय। श्री राधा कुंद श्याम कुंद की जय। श्री मुन देवी कंग देवी की जय। श्री तुलसी महारानी वृंद देवी की जय। श्री भक्ति देवी की जय। श्री पूर्णमासी योगमाय की जय। श्री गोपेश्वर महादेव की जय। श्री हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय जय। श्री चैतन्य भागवत की जय। श्री वृंदावन दास ठाकुर की जय जय। श्री द गौरी भाष्य श्री भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोसाई प्रभुपाद की जय। हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव समागत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि वो। Hare Krishna, everybody. Dandava Pranam. Yeah. Sorry, I have stuff in my throat and might make gross noises every now and then. All right, so let's start the Mangalacharan. Okay. Where are we? अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। गुरवे गौरचन्द्राय राधिकाय तदालये कृष्णाय कृष्णभक्ताय तद्भक्ताय नमो नमः। वंशाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो अवतीर्णो सकारुण्यो परिचिन्नो सरीश्वरो श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य नित्यानन्दो द्वौ भ्रातरो भजे। नमस्त्रिकाल सत्याय जगन्नाथ सुताय च सभृत्याय सपुत्राय सकलत्राय ते नमः। जय जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य लक्ष्मी कांत जय जय नित्यानंद वल्लभ एकांत जय जय वैकुंठ ईश्वर न्यासीराज जय 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 भक्त समाज जय जय पतित पावन गौरचंद्र दान देह हृदय तुम्हार पद द्वंद्व शेष खंड कथा भाई सुनो एक चीते नीलाचले गौरचंद्र आयला जयमते तवाय वास्मि न जीवामि त्वया विना इति विज्ञाय देवी त्वां नायमं चरणान्तिकम् भक्त्या विहीना अपराधलक्षाय क्षिप्ताष्टकामादितरङ्गमध्ये कृपामयि त्वां शरणं प्रपन्ना वृन्दे नमस्ते चरणारविन्दम् भज श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासरि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। The glories of Śrī Caitanya-bhāgavata and Śrīla Vrindavan Das Thakur from Śrī Chaitanya Charitamrita. 1 second. Let me shut off my mic while I clear my throat. All right. Ore mura loka shuno Chaitanya Mangal, Chaitanya Mahima Jate Jani Veshakal, Krishna Lila Bhagavate Kohe Ved Vyas, Chaitanya Lila Vyas Vrindavana Das, Vrindavana Dasa Koilo Chaitanya Mangal, Jahara Shravane Nashe Sarvaya Mangal. चैतन्य निताय जाते जानिए महिमा जाते जानी कृष्ण भक्ति सिद्धांतेर सीमा भागवते जत भक्ति सिद्धांतेर सार लिखियाছেন ইহা জানি করিয়া উদ্ধার চৈতন্য মঙ্গল শুনে যদি পাষাণ্ডী জবান সেহ মহাবৈষ্ণব হয় ততক্ষণ মানুষে রচিতে নারে ঐচ্ছে গ্রন্থ ধন্য বৃন্দাবন দাস মুখে বক্তা শ্রী চৈতন্য বৃন্দাবন দাস পরে কোটি নমস্কার ঐচ্ছে গ্রন্থ করিতে হো তারিলা সংসার নারায়ণী চৈতন্যের উচ্ছিষ্ট ভাজন তার গর্ভে জন্মিলা শ্রী দাস বৃন্দাবন तार की अर्बुत चैतन्य चरित वर्णन जहाँ श्रवणे शुद्ध कोइल त्रिभुवन सहजे विचित्र मधुर चैतन्य विहार वृंदावन दास मुखे अमृते धार. By nature, all the activities of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are very wonderful and sweet. And when they are described by Śrīla Vrindavan Das Thakur, they become like a shower of nectar. Jai Śrīla Vrindavan Das Thakur ki jai, jai Śrī Caitanya Bhagavat ki jai. The Gaudiya Bhashya of Śrīla Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada ki jai, jai Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai, Śrī Nityānanda Gaur Premanante Hari Hari. All right, so we are continuing on with our reading of chapter 2, description of the Lord's travel through Bhuvaneśvara and other places to Jagannath Puri. Before I begin, let's see all who's there. Dandavat pranams. Nri Hari Prabhu, Vaitaraṇī Mataji, Satya Mataji, Champak Mataji, Gopal Haribo, Gopal Ghanasham Prabhu, and let's see, on YouTube and Facebook, Raseshwari Mataji, Ganga Mataji, Hari Priya Didi, Charu Didi, and Madhusudan Prabhu. And I see there's some others. I only see your name if you write a comment though. So Dandavat pranams everybody. Just warning you in advance, I think I'll be okay. But I only slept 3.5 hours last night. We're on a marathon to try to get 2 books finished for the printer, ready for the printers. Today's supposed to be my last day on working on the book, and so yeah, it's just been a bit of an intense time. So might be a little bit out of it, but we'll see how it goes. If I ever do start getting tired, though, I'll just stand up and walk around while I read. I've done that a few times before. Okay. Haribol, Haribol Krishna Mai Didi. All right. Sharing my screen and we will begin. All right. I'm gonna read just a part of Srila Bhakti-Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj's you like it when I fall asleep when I read. Okay, that's good. That makes me not feel as bad anymore then. Okay. Oops. Okay. Yeah, so this is a summary by Srila Bhakti-Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj, and I'll read the summary up to where we read to the point we read yesterday. Okay. Here's a summary of the full chapter though. This chapter describes Mahaprabhu's journey to Nilachal with devotees headed by Nityananda and Gadadhar, his making the villages Atisara and Chhatrabhog glorious, His acceptance of ferryboat arrangements and other services from the fortunate Rāmacandra Khān, his journey in Orissa via the Suvarṇarekhā River, Jaleśvara, Remuṇā, Yājapura, Vaitaraṇī, Cuttack, Sākṣi-gopāla, Bhuvaneśvara, Kamalapura, Āṭhāranālā, Āṭhāranālā, and entry into Purī. Śrī Nityananda's pastime of breaking the Lord's sannyāsa daṇḍa near the Suvarṇarekhā. That's where we're going to end with today. And then the Lord's falling unconscious in ecstasy while attempting to embrace Lord Jagannātha inside the Jagannātha temple. Sarvabhauma is bringing the Lord to his own house, and the Lord's pastimes of regaining external consciousness and then honoring Mahaprasad at the house of Sarvabhauma. A lot in this chapter, huh? Seems like it could have been like 3 chapters. Okay, so here's a bit of a more in-depth summary now. When, after enjoying pastimes with his devotees at Shantipur, the Lord one morning expressed his desire to go to Nilachal, the devotees informed him about the various types of possible dangers he may face on the way. Yet before the strong will of the independent Lord, the devotees headed by Śrī Advaita relented. Just before the commencement of his journey, the Lord solaced his devotees who were afflicted by thoughts of separation by instructing them to worship Krishna. Gaurasundar's devotees felt pangs of separation, similar to the pangs of separation felt by the residents of Raj when Krishna left for Mathura, for they were non-different from the residents of Raj, and Gaurasundar was non-different from the son of Nanda. Śrī Nityananda Prabhu, Gadadhar, Mukunda, Govinda, Jagannātha, and Brahmananda accompanied the Lord. On the way, the Lord asked the devotees if they had accumulated possessions. The Lord asked the devotees if they had any accumulated possessions with them, and thereby tested their qualities of indifference and freedom from desires for material opulences. Yes, and they didn't have anything with them, so he's very pleased. I just said that. He is very pleased on learning that none of them had brought any accumulated wealth. While instructing the devotees to fully depend on Krishna, the Lord arrived at the house of Ananta Pandit in the village of Atisara and exhibited the pastime of accepting his hospitality. Ananta Pandit. Eventually, the Lord came to the holy place named Chhatrabhog and saw the Ambulinga Ghat there. In this connection, the authors describe the story of Ambulinga Shiva. After taking darshan and bath at Shatamukhi Ganga, the Lord became absorbed in his own internal mood. Suddenly, Rāmacandra Khān, the administrator of Chhatrabhog village, came there and offered obeisances to the Lord. He was very astonished to see the Lord's intense eagerness to see Lord Jagannātha. On understanding the identity of Rāmacandra Khān, the Lord mercifully ordered him to arrange passage for him to go to Nilachal. Rāmacandra Khān requested the Lord and his devotees to first accept a meal at his house, and Mahaprabhu mercifully accepted his invitation. The people of Chhatrabhog thus received an opportunity to witness the transcendental ecstatic madness of the Lord. After 3/4 of the night passed and Mahaprabhu regained his external consciousness, Rāmacandra Khān arranged a boat for Mahaprabhu's journey. On the boat, Gaurasundar began to display wonderful symptoms of ecstatic love. Then, on the Lord's order, Mukunda began to sing on the boat, and because of the Lord's dancing, the boat came on the verge of capsizing. So, we ended with before Mahaprabhu got on the boat, right? I think. So let's continue from where we left off. Haribol, Rasapriya Didi, and Krishnamaya Didi, and Shumananda Prabhu. And yeah, Haribol. 1 second. Okay. I think yesterday was I think it's 206, right? So no, that's where we're ending today. 107. That's where we left off yesterday. Okay.
It was the one that had that really long explanation. It had
Okay.
Bhasya afterwards.
Okay, yeah. I'm just going back a few verses just so that we get the context. Yeah, right here. I'm just going to read the translations just to catch us up. So, okay. Okay, so the administrator of that village was Rāmacandra Khān. Although he was a sense enjoyer, he was greatly fortunate. Otherwise, how could he see the Lord? By the arrangement of providence, he met the Lord there. When he saw the Lord's effulgence, he became filled with awe and immediately got down from his palanquin. He fell flat at the lotus feet of the Lord. But the Lord had no external consciousness as he shed tears of ecstatic love. The Lord fell to the ground and cried profusely while exclaiming, "Ha ha, Jagannātha!" When Ramachandra saw the Lord was in such a distress, his gentle heart was shattered. He began to cry as he thought, there is no way to check such grief. Anyone within the three worlds who after seeing such crying does not become agitated must have a heart of stone or wood. After becoming somewhat pacified, the crest jewel of Vaikuntha asked Ramacandra Khān, "Who are you? Ketumi?" Folding his hands with awe and reverence, Ramachandra replied, "O Lord, I am the servant of your servant." Then other persons there informed the Lord, he is the administrator of this southern province. The Lord said, "It is good that you are the administrator. Tell me how I can quickly reach Nilachal." As the Lord spoke, tears of love flowed from his eyes. He then fell to the ground, exclaiming, "Oh Nilachala Chandra." Ramachandra Khan replied, "Listen, Mahashai, it is certainly my duty to do whatever you order. But Lord, the situation is very tense right now. There is no travel between the two states. The king's men have booby trapped the road with sharp spears. If they happen to find a traveler, they accuse him of being a spy and execute him. Oh Lord, listen carefully. I'm apprehensive about which way I can send you in secret. I am the army commander, and I oversee this area. If I am caught helping you, I will be in trouble. Still, O Lord, I will somehow or other certainly fulfill your request. If you accept me as your servant, then you and your associates will kindly take meal with me today. I am prepared to lose my caste, my life, and wealth, but I will certainly help you cross the border tonight." On hearing his words, the Lord of Vaikuntha smiled and glanced mercifully on him. After Gaur Hari freed him from all material bondage by his merciful glance, the Lord went to stay in that Brahman's house. Thus that Brahman's house became sanctified, as he directly perceived the fruits of his past pious deeds. The Brahman's heart filled with devotion as he began to cook for the Lord with great care. The Lord ate only as a matter of formality, for he was so absorbed in his own ecstatic mood that he could not be diverted for even a moment. Okay, yeah, this is where we read up to, and there's a big Gaudiya Bhashya there. Okay, verse 108. Bhiksha kore Prabhu Priya Varga Santoshartha Niravadi Prabhur Bhojana Paramartha. The Lord ate only for the satisfaction of his beloved devotees. The Lord's food always consisted of only spiritual foodstuffs. Gaudiya Bhashya by Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada. Externally, the Lord's acceptance of foodstuffs on the pretext of begging alms was to deceive ordinary people of the external world. But from the spiritual viewpoint, his pastime of accepting food consisted only in honoring Bhagavat Prasad. Karmis opposed to devotional service think that Sri Gaurasundar took his meal at the house of a pseudo-Brahmin who proudly identified himself as a born Brahmin, but actually who proudly identified himself as a born Brahmin. But actually, this pastime was meant to refute their mundane conceptions. Such blatant indirect approval of foolish behavior was simply to deceive those so-called Brahmins who are attached to karma-kanda, who are worthy of being deceived, and who are permanently bereft of spiritual understanding. Realizing that such indirect approval would in the future benefit people attached to karma-kanda, the Lord attempted to please those karmis who are opposed to spiritual values. That way, in the future, they may also become Vaishnavas and achieve auspiciousness by becoming dear to the Lord. Mahaprabhu never displayed any pastime of accepting anything other than Krishna Prasad. He personally displayed the pastime of chanting 100,000 names of Krishna, 1 lakh. And he would first offer any food cooked by a so-called Brahmin to Krishna, and then honor it. First, he would offer the food cooked by a so-called Brahmin to Krishna. Sorry. The Lord enacted this pastime of accepting the non-Vaishnava behavior of Smartas to protect the community of so-called Brahmins who would perpetually fall into hell. By considering him as one who disrespects so-called Brahmins. Yeah. So he did this to protect the Smarta community, or the community of so-called Brahmins who would perpetually fall into hell by considering him as one who disrespects so-called Brahmins. Actually, Mahaprabhu demonstrated the spiritual principle that Lord Krishna never accepts anything offered by a person who does not chant 100,000 names. Exalted devotees daily chant 100,000 names and do not accept anything other than the remnants of Hari, Guru, and Vaishnavas. Therefore, the remnants of Mahaprasad that has been relished by devotees are certainly spiritual foodstuffs. Foods that have not been offered to the Lord are to be rejected as stool and urine. Okay. That's a pretty strong sentence. Food that has not been offered to the Lord, foods that have not been offered to the Lord are to be rejected as stool and urine. Okay. Visheshe chalilo je avadhi Jagannātha name she bhojana prabhu kore she hoite. In particular, on his journey to Jagannath Puri, the Lord ate only out of formality. Hey, didn't we just read that? Oh, I guess the verse before it said the same thing. No. Huh. That's interesting. Okay. Gaudiya Bhashya, the Brahmins engaged in the pure service of Vishnu are dear to the Supreme Lord. One of the Lord's wonderful pastimes was to please his dear devotees by giving so-called Brahmins the qualification to serve him. But that does not mean that one should reject spiritual foodstuffs and accept untouchable, unoffered foodstuffs as foolish people do, or that one should approve the acceptance of foodstuffs that are offered by sinful people. Niravadi Jagannātha prati arti kori aisenu sabapata apana pasari. For the entire journey, the Lord anxiously prayed to Jagannath and forgot himself. Kare boli ratri din patter sanchar, kiba jal, kiba stal, kiba parapar, kichu nahi jane prabhu dubi prem rase, priya varga rakhe niravadi rahi pashe. The Lord was completely oblivious to everything as he drowned in the mellows of ecstatic love. He did not know whether it was day or night, or whether he had crossed a river or walked through water or over land. Okay, Satyamataji. Jayaveshe Mahaprabhu Koren Prakash, Tahake Kohite Pare Bine Ved Vyas. Who other than Veda Vyas can describe the ecstasy that Mahaprabhu manifested? Ishwarer Charitra Bhujite Shaktikar, Kokhono ki Rupe Krishna Koren Bihar. Who can understand the Supreme Lord's characteristics? And who can understand when or how Krishna performs his pastimes? Gaudiya Bhashya. The foolishness that ignorant people display by accepting Śrī Vasudeva of Radhadesh or various living entities, forced to enjoy the fruits of their karma in present-day Bengal as a Supreme Lord, as a spiritual master of the entire world, as the authority on the synthesis of all religions, or as the acharya of the present age, is certainly an exhibition of their utter weakness. As a result of the impersonal conceptions found in Panchopasana, the process of worshiping the 5 deities Vishnu, Shiva, Durga, Ganesh, and Surya, the acceptance of human beings as God has gradually developed in Kali Yuga. But Swayamrup Krishna Chandra manifested his own Śrī Caitanya pastimes to distribute love for Krishna to all living entities. The attempts to accept as God human beings who imitate Śrī Caitanya is an act of foolishness. Swayam Rup Krishna Chandra does not give those whose hearts are polluted by the power to realize his Gaur. Swayam Rup Krishna Chandra does not give those whose hearts are polluted. He does not give them the power to realize his Gaur pastimes, which are meant for instructing all. Without the mercy of Śrī Nityānanda, no one has the qualification to serve Śrī Gaura Sundar, to understand him, or to attain love of Krishna. In the Śrīmad Bhagavatam 10.60.38, it is stated, Tvam samasta purushartha maya palatma yadvanchaya sumatayo visrijanti kritsna tesham vibo sumuchito bhavata samaja pungsa striyascha ratayo sukha dukhinorhana. That means, you are the embodiment of all human goals and are yourself the final aim of life. Desiring to attain you, O all-powerful Lord, intelligent persons abandon everything else. In the Śrīmad Bhagavatam 4.9.17, it is stated, Satyashisho hi bhagavatangsh tavapara parmam ashishtatanu bhajata purushartha murte. My Lord, O Supreme Lord, you are the supreme personified form of all benediction. Therefore, for one who abides in your devotional service with no other desire, worshipping your lotus feet is better than becoming a king and lording it over a kingdom. That is the benediction of worshipping your lotus feet. In the Śrīmad Bhagavatam 2.9.21, it is stated, Varam varaya bhadram te varesham ma bhivanchitam brahmanchreya parishrama punksam mad darshanavati. I wish you good luck. O Brahma, O Brahma, you may ask for me, the giver of all benediction, all that you may desire. You may know that the ultimate benediction, as a result of all penances, is to see me by realization. In the Śrīmad Bhagavatam 10.14.21, it is stated, Koveti bhumam bhagavan paratman yogeshvaro tir bhavatas trilokyam Vava katam va kativa kadeti vistarayan kri dasi yogamayam. O Supreme Great One, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, O Super Soul, Master of all mystic power, your pastimes are taking place continuously in these three worlds. But who can estimate where, how, and when you are employing your spiritual energy and performing these innumerable pastimes? No one can understand the mystery of how your spiritual energy acts. Okay, wait, what was I just wanted to see what that was the purport for. Okay, so who other than Vedavyas can describe the ecstasy that Mahaprabhu manifested? Who can understand the Supreme Lord's characteristics? And who can understand when or how Krishna performs his pastimes? Kare ba koren arti kanden ba kore kare e marma janite Nityananda Shakti dhore e marma janite Nityananda Shakti dhore. Only Nityananda has the power to understand why the Lord lamented and cried. Nija bhakti rase dubi vaikunte rai apana na jane prabhu apana nilai. As the Lord of Vaikuntha drowned in the mellows of his own devotional service, he enacted the pastime of forgetting himself. Apane Jagannāth bhaben apane koriya arti. The Lord meditated on his own form as Jagannāth and exhibited lamentation to teach others. Jadi kripa drishti na koren jiva prati tabe kar achetane janite shakati. If the Lord did not glance mercifully on the living entities, who would have the power to know him? Nityananda Adisha Priya Varga Loya Bhojan Korite Prabhu Boshilen Giya. The Lord then sat down to eat with his dear associates, headed by Nityananda. Kichumatra anna Prabhu parigraha kori utilen hunkar koria gora hari. Hunkar koria gora hari. After taking a morsel of rice, Gaur Hari stood up and roared loudly. Avishta hoila Prabhu kori achaman. Kotodur Jagannāth bhole ghane ghan. The Lord became overwhelmed as he washed his hands and mouth and repeatedly asked, Kotodur Jagannāth, how far is Jagannath Puri? Gaudiya Bhashya. If Sri Gaur Hari does not glance mercifully on the conditioned souls, they can never become Vaishnavas by becoming liberated from their conditional life. That is why Mahaprabhu personally displayed the affliction of separation from the Lord and ascertains the essential characteristics of the object of worship. Sri Gaur Sundar is Lord Jagannath himself. By being continually forgetful of this fact, he did not allow unqualified people to understand this. For otherwise, unqualified devotees would consider him as simply a Mayavadi, and then they would themselves take to the path of Mayavad. That is why he did not reveal to everyone that all of his other manifestations are included in his manifestation as a devotee. Mukunda lagila matra kirtana korite arambhila vaikunter ishvara nachite. As soon as Mukunda began to perform kirtan, the Lord of Vaikuntha began to dance. Punyavanta jata jata chatrabhog what is that? Chatrabhog vasi shabe deke nritya kore Vaikuntha vilasi. All the pious persons of Chatrabhog watched as the Lord who enjoys pastimes in Vaikuntha danced. Ashru kampa hunkar pulaka stamba gharma koto hoy ke jane she vikarer marma. Who can understand the mercy of the Lord's display of transformations of ecstatic love, like crying, shivering, roaring, hair standing on end, becoming stunned and perspiring? Hivashe arbutanayaner premadhar, bhadramase jeheno gangaravatar. The wonderful stream of tears that flowed from his eyes resembled the descent of the Ganga in the month of Bhadra during the monsoon season. Pakadiya nritya korite nayane chute jal. Tahate lokasnan korilo shakal. I guess pakadiya means twirling around. Interesting. Pakadiya. Everyone there was bathed by the tears emanating from the Lord's eyes as he whirled around dancing. So whenever I see a new word, I always like to look it up. Where is the dictionary? Pakadiya. That's interesting. The last word I looked up was paka. Okay. Paka. Cooking, boiling, maturity, ripeness, digestion, twisting of a rope. Twist, turn, circular motion, convolution. Twist and turn. Pakakawa valaga. So pakakawa means to be twisted, or pakalaga. Laga. Interesting. Okay, sorry. So everyone there was bathed by the tears emanating from the Lord's eyes as he whirled around dancing. Ihareshe kohi premoy avatar, e Shakti Caitanya-chandra bine nahi ar. That is why he was described as the incarnation of love of God. No one other than Chaitanya Chandra had such power. Emate gelo ratri tritiya prahar, stir hoilen Prabhu Shri Gaur Sundar. After 9 hours of the night passed in this way, Shri Gaur Sundar became pacified. Shakaloker chitte jeno khona pray, sabar nistar hoilo Chaitanya kripay. Everyone there thought that hardly a moment had passed. They were all delivered by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya. Henoy shamoy kohe Rāmacandra Khān, noka asi ghate Prabhu hoilo vidyaman. At that time, Ramachandra Rāmacandra Khān came and said, "O Lord, the boat has arrived at the ghat." ততক্ষণে হরি বলি শ্রী গৌর সুন্দর উঠিলেন গিয়া প্রভু নৌকার উপর. Śrī Gaurasundar immediately chanted the name of Hari and went to sit in the boat. শুভদৃষ্টে লোকেরে বিদায় দিয়া ঘরে চলিলেন প্রভু নীলাচল নিজপুরে. The Lord cast his auspicious glance on everyone and sent them home. Then he departed for his own abode of Nilachal. প্রভুর আজ্ঞায় শ্রী মুকুন্দ মহাশয় কীর্তন করেন প্রভু নৌকায় বিজয়. By the order of the Lord, Śrī Mukunda Mahashai began to perform kirtan as the Lord boarded the boat. Abodha naviko bole hoilo সংশয় বুঝিলায়া আজি আর প্রাণ নাহি রয়. The foolish boatman said, "I am in doubt. I think we will not survive the day. কুলেতে উঠিলে বাঘে লইয়া পলায়, জলেতে পড়িলে কুম্ভীরেতে ধরি খায়, নিরন্তর এই পানিতে ডাকাইতে ফিরে, পাইলে ধন প্রাণ দুই নাশ করে." Yeah, I think we will not survive the day. If we reach the shore, the tigers will attack us. And if we fall in the water, the crocodiles will eat us. Rogues constantly move about these waters. If they catch anyone, they take both his wealth and life. Gaudiya Bhashya. When Śrī Gaurasundar boarded Rāmacandra Khan's boat, Mukunda began to chant the glories of Krishna. At that time, the foolish boatman became full of anxiety as he thought about his imminent destruction. As one travels through the insurmountable forests of Sundarban, one would generally encounter tigers on land and crocodiles in the water. We go to Sundarban when Tirthamaj's Prachar field. Apart from this, many pirates would plunder and kill in those waterways. That is why the boatman told everyone to stop. The kirtan. Another reason for the boatman's anxiety was that if he did not obey Rāmacandra Khan's order, that is, if he did not take Mahaprabhu to Orissa, then Ramachandra would kill him. Moreover, there was every chance of being seen in the enemy camp on the way to Orissa. If they performed kirtan while sailing, the enemy soldiers would follow the sound of the kirtan and attack. Therefore, there is danger in the boat. There is danger on the land. There was even danger of drowning. There was danger from Rāmacandra Khān. There is danger from the enemy king, and there is danger from the subordinates of Rāmacandra Khān. If pirates or the enemy camp heard the tumultuous sound of the kirtan, they would attack. এতেকে যাবৎ উড়িয়ার দেশে পায়, তাবৎ নীরব হও সকল গোসাই. Therefore, O Gosais, until we reach Orissa, please remain silent. সংকোচা হইল সবে নাবিকের বলে, প্রভু সে ভাসে নিরবধি প্রেম জলে. When they heard the boatman's words, they became somewhat hesitant. The Lord, however, continually floated in the waves of ecstatic love. অনেকে উঠিলা প্রভু করিয়া হুঙ্কার, সবারে বলেন কেনে ভয় করো কার. After a while, the Lord stood up and roared loudly. He said to everyone, "Why are you afraid?" Ena samukhe sudarshana chakra phire, Vaishnava janer niravadi vigna kore hare. Can't you see the Sudarshan chakra escorting us? It always removes the obstacles faced by the Vaishnavas. Gaudiya Bhashya. In the Śrīmad Bhagavatam 9.428, it is stated, Tasma adad dharish chakram pratyanika bhayavaham ekanta bhakti bhavena prito bhakta birakshanam. Being very pleased by the unalloyed devotion of Maharaja Ambarish, the Supreme Personality of Godhead gave the king his disc, which is fearful to enemies, and which always protects the devotee from enemies and adversities. Kichu chinta nahi koro Krishna sankirtan Tora na ki de sorry Tora ki na deko hero pire sudarshan. Do not worry. Chant the glories of Krishna. Don't you see the Sudarshan guarding us? Never seen that. Dekohera. Those both mean seen, right? So I guess it's like a term like interesting. Shuniya Prabhur Vakya Sarva Bhakta Gan Anande Lagila Shabe Korite Kirtan. On hearing the Lord's words, all the devotees joyfully began to perform kirtan. Vyapadeshe Mahaprabhu Kohen Sabare Niravadi Sudarshana Bhakta Rakha Kore. Mahaprabhu used this situation to teach everyone. Sudarshan always protects the devotees. This is just reminding me, maybe I mentioned this one time before, but when I was in China in 2006 with Damodar Maharaj, it was Nishinga Chaturdashi, and in China when I was there, I think it might be more relaxed now, but when I was there at that time, it was very strict, and we couldn't wear devotional clothes anywhere. We had to wear pants and a t-shirt and everything. And when we do kirtan inside our houses, we have to do it very quietly so that nobody outside could hear. And because devotees were persecuted, and we were breaking the law basically by doing programs or kirtan or anything like that. And but on Nishinga Chaturdashi, Damodar Maharaj, he gave a class on Nishingadev, and then at the end of the class, we had a kirtan, and he said, and we shouldn't like what is there to be afraid of? Lord Nishingadev will protect us, and like that. And he did like a big kirtan, and then he stood up and then went outside, and then I followed behind him with Mridanga, and all the devotees there were completely shocked, like they didn't even know what to do. But then most of the devotees, they just said, yes, Nishingadev, because there's Nishinga Chaturdashi. And so then we all went out and we did a big Nagar Sankirtan. And we went all throughout the village, and everybody it was more of a village. It was like a town. It wasn't a big city, but it was a town. And all the people in the village, they were in the town, they were all looking like completely shocked, like, what the heck is going on? And we went to a park, and the devotees, because the situation was just so crazy what we're doing, all the devotees just completely lost it. And they were like dancing yeah, it was such an ecstatic kirtan. And then we went back to the place and nothing happened. Nobody, there was no problems for anybody, and yeah, somehow we were protected. But yeah, that was a pretty wild experience. Okay. So Mahaprabhu used the situation to teach everyone. Sudarshan always protects the devotees. Gaudiya Bhashya. In the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam 9.48, it is stated, Pragdishtam Vritarakshayam Purushena Mahatmana Tadaha Kritam Tam Chakram Krudahim Iva Pavaka. As fire in the forest immediately burns to ashes an angry snake, so by the previous order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his disc, the Sudarshan Chakra, immediately burnt to ashes the created demon to protect the Lord's devotee. In the Matsya Puran, chapter 11, it is stated, Pritak Chakara Tat Tejas, Chakram Vishnur Akalpayat, Trishulam Chapirudrasya, Vajram Indrasya Chadikam, Daitya Danava Sanghrit Hartu, Sahasra Kiranatmakam. He separated the effulgence and made the disc of Lord Vishnu, as well as the trident of Rudra and the thunderbolt of Indra. That disc is the annihilator of the Daitas and Danavas. That disc, and is composed of thousands of rays of light. In the Vamana Purana, chapter 79, it is stated, Varayudho Yamdevesha Sarvayudha Nibarhana Sudarshano Dvadasharo Yo Mana Sadrisho Jiva. O Lord of Lords, greatest of all living beings, this best of weapons, Sudarshan, destroys all other weapons. It has 12 spokes and is non-different from the mind. Aratstita Ami Chatra Deva Mashas Charashaya Shishtanam Rakshanarthaya Samstita Rittavastushat. The demigods, the months, the signs of the zodiac, and the 6 seasons are all present in Sudarshan to protect those who are well behaved. Agni Somastata Mitro Varunascha Prajapatim Dragni okay, Dragni interesting. Okay, Dragni Chanyatavish. No, I think this is divided wrong. Whatever. I think that's supposed to be in Dragni. Yeah, it's supposed to be here. Okay, sorry. Indragni Chanyato Vishve Prajapatayat Evacha Hanumanshchatabalavan Deva Dhanavat Devo Dhanvantaris Tata Tapangsheva Tapasascha Dwadashaite Pratishtita. Sorry, guys. Established in Sudarshan are Agni, Soma, Mitra, Varuna, the Lord of creatures, Indra, the Vishva Devs, the Prajapatis, the powerful Hanuman, Lord Dhanvantari, and the 12 great aesthetics. They are all established in Sudarshan. Chaitradya Palgunastascha Masas Tatra Pratishtita. The months beginning with Chaitra and ending with Falgun are also established in him. Tvam evam adaya vibho varayudhang shatrum suranam jahiva ma vishankita. Sorry guys, I don't know how this is supposed to be divided. Amogo esho mararaja pujito trito maya deha katastapo balat. Okay, got it. Anyhow, it's supposed to be like that. Oh, all-powerful one, please take this best of weapons and without hesitation defeat the enemies of the demigods. This weapon, worshipped by the king of the demigods, cannot be frustrated. On the strength of my austerities, I wield it as part of my body. Okay, so the Lord said, Mahaprabhu use this situation to teach everyone Sudarshan always protects the devotees. Jai papishta Vaishnaver paka hingsa kore Sudarshana agnite shepapi puri more. Any sinful person who attacks a Vaishnav is burnt to ashes by the fire of Sudarshan. Gaudiya Bhashya. Śrī Gaurasundar felt no anxiety as he declared, Sudarshan Chakra constantly protects the devotees. Sinful people who attack a Vaishnav will be burnt to death by the fire of Sudarshan. Sudarshan. Vishnu Chakra Sudarshana Rakshak Takite Kar Shakti Ache Bhakta Janere Lankite. When devotees have a protector like Vishnu Sudarshan Chakra, who has the power to attack them? Gaudiya Bhashya. In the Nada Pancharatra 1-34, it is stated, Dattva Chakram Charakshartam Na Nishchinto Janardana Swayam Tan Nikatam Nyati Tam Drashtum Rakshanaya Cha. Lord Janardana is not content even after engaging Sudarshan to protect his devotees. So he personally goes to see and protects them. Evam pritasya rakshartam Krishna dattva sudarshanam tatapi sushto na pritas tam bhaktam tyaktum akshama. Thus, Krishna deputed Sudarshan for the protection of his servants, but he did not feel comfortable or pleased because it was difficult for him to give up the association of his devotee. Haribol Vidilala Sadidi. E matashi gora chandrer gopya katha tana kripa jarishe bhujaye sarvata. Only a person who is favored by Śrī Gaurachandra can actually understand his confidential topics. Heno mate Mahaprabhu sankirtana rase pravesha hoila asi Śrī Utkala deshe. In this way, Mahaprabhu was merged in the mellows of Sankirtan as he entered the kingdom of Orissa. Uttari lagiya nauka Shri Prayaga ghate, nauka hoite Mahaprabhu uthilen tate. When the boat arrived at Śrī Prayag Ghat, Mahaprabhu stepped onto the shore. Pravisha korila gora chandra odhra deshe, iha jeshu noyeshe bhashaye prem rase. Anyone who hears about Gaurachandra's arrival in Orissa that person floats in the mellows of ecstatic love in prem ras. Anande Thakur Odra Desha Hoy Para Sarvargana Sahita Hoila Namaskar. After joyfully arriving at Orissa, the Lord and his associates offered obeisances. Shaistane Achetar Ganga Ghatanam Tahi Gora Chandra Prabhu Kori Lena Snan. There, at the place known as Ganga Ghat, Lord Gaurachandra took his bath. Yudhishthir Stapita Mahesh Tatiyache Snana Kori Tare Namash Kori Len Pache. After taking bath, the Lord offered obeisances to the deity of Mahesh that was established there by Yudhishthir. Odra Deshe Pravesha Korila Gora Chandra Gana Shaha Hoilen Parama Ananda. Gora Chandra and his associates were most happy to have entered Orissa. Eka Devasthane Prabhu Thuya Sabare Apane Cholila Prabhu Bhiksha Kori Bare. The Lord then left his associates in one temple and went out to beg alms. Jar ghare giya Prabhu upasanna hoy she vigraha dekhite kahar mohanoy. In whoever's house the Lord went to beg at, the people there became bewildered on seeing his form. Anchal patin Prabhu Shri Gaur Sundar Shabe Tandul Ani Deyin Satvar. As Shri Gaurasundar held out his conch for alms, why did I say conch? As Shri Gaurasundar held out his cloth for alms, everyone immediately placed rice in it. Bhakhyadrava ukrishta jethake jar ghare shabe santoshe ani deyen prabhure. They happily offered the Lord whatever fine eatables they had in their house. Jagater Annapurna Jai Lakshmir Nam She Lakshmi Magai Jar Para Parmisthan Heno Prabhu Apane Shakal Ghare Ghare Nyasi Rupe Bikha Chole Jiva Dhanya Kore. The same Lord whose lotus feet are desired by Lakshmi, who is known as Annapurna, the supplier of food to the entire universe, he personally delivered the living entities on the pretext of giving alms from door to door as a sannyasi. Gaudiya Bhashya. In the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam 1.16.33, it is stated, Pramadayo bahutitam yadapanga moksha kamastapa samacharan bhagavat prapanna sashi savah samaravinda banam vihaya yatpadaso bhagamalam bhajate nurakta. Lakshmi Ji, the goddess of fortune, whose glance of grace was sought by the demigods like Brahma, and for whom they surrendered many a day unto the personality of Godhead, gave up her own abode in the forest of lotus flowers and engaged herself in the service of the lotus feet of the Lord. In a conversation between the personified Vedas and Vidya in the Narad Pancharatra, it is stated, Bhaktir bhajana sampatir bhajate prakriti priyam jayate tyanta dukhena seyam prakritiratmana durgeti gyate sarvir akhanda rasa vallabha. Devotion is the fruit of devotional service. Prakriti serves her beloved in devotion. It is with great difficulty that this Prakriti took birth from him. Saintly persons sing of her by the name Durga. She is his devoted consort with undeviating affection. In the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam 119, verses 32 to 33, it is stated, Parikshir vacha aho adyavayam praman satsevya kshatra bandhava kripayatiti rupena bhavabdis tirthaka krita yesham samsmaranat pungsam sadya shuddhanti vai griha kim punar darshana sparsha parashochasana divi. O Brahman, by your mercy only, you have sanctified us, making us into places of pilgrimage, all by your presence here as my guest. By your mercy, we, who are but unworthy royalty, have become eligible to serve the devotee. Simply by our remembering you, our houses become instantly sanctified. And what to speak of seeing you? Sorry, what to speak? So, simply by remembering you, our houses become instantly sanctified. And what to speak about seeing you, touching you, washing your holy feet, and offering you a seat in our home. This was Śrī Caitanya Dev's pastime of begging alms door to door. Bhikkha kori prabhu hoy, harashit taman, ailen jathaboshi ache bhaktagan. After begging alms, the Lord became joyful. He then returned to where the devotees were waiting. Bhikkha dravya dekhi shabe lagila hasite, shabe bolen prabhu pariba poshite. When the devotees saw the foodstuffs that the Lord collected as alms, they began to laugh and said, "Oh Lord, you will be able to maintain us." Gaudiya Bhashya. At present, Śrī Caitanya Math and its branches collect donations from various people and use them for the service of the Vaishnavas. By personally begging from door to door and having his devotees beg from door to door, Śrī Gaurasundar displayed the pastime of maintaining his followers or serving the Vaishnavas. Although when envious people see many persons give donations to the Gaudiya Math devotees who collect alms, even though these envious people create problems for those devotees, the devotees do not hesitate to boldly preach. Only the Gaudiya Math can constantly protect the religious principles for attaining love of God that were preached by Śrī Gaurasundar. By the nature of the disciplic succession, this ability has passed down to those who are qualified. That was I guess that's a note though from the translator or something. One atheistic offender has openly admitted the Śrī Gaudiya Math process of preaching in various countries is the path inaugurated by Śrī Gaurasundar. Actually, Śrī Gaudiya Math has become successful in the activities of properly preaching the teachings of Śrī Gaurasundar. So, and even an atheistic offender openly admitted that. Even the atheistic blasphemous Sahajiyas cannot deny this fact. Although the servants of the Gaudiya Math do not approve of the artificial Vaishnava behavior of Prakrit Sahajiyas, and although Sahajiyas always try to oppose such servants, the Sahajiyas openly admit that the preachers of Gaudiya Math follow in the footsteps of Mahaprabhu by desiring the benefit of all living entities. Just as Śrī Gaurasundar acted as the maintainer of the devotees by nourishing their spiritual lives and removing their obstacles, his servants also do the same for his service. This fact cannot be understood by the pseudo-devotee, so-called Vaishnava Prakrit Sahajiyas. Santoshe Jagannātha Korila Randhan, Sabar Sanghati Prabhu Korila Bhojan. Jagannātha cooked with great satisfaction, and the Lord then ate in the company of the devotees. Sarvaratri she grame kori sankirtan, Ushakala Mahaprabhu Korila Gaman. Mahaprabhu and the devotees performed Sankirtan the entire night in that village, and then departed early the next morning. Koto dur gele matra dani durachar, rakhilek dan chahe na de jaibar. After they had traveled some distance, a sinful toll collector stopped them and would not allow them to go further without paying taxes. Dekhiya prabhur teja pailo bishmoy, jigyasilo tomar ko teka loka hoy. Struck with wonder on seeing the Lord's effulgence, he asked, "How many people are with you?" Prabhu kohe jagate amar keho noy. Sorry, he asked, "How many people are with you?" He didn't ask like that yet. Prabhu kohe jagate amar keho noy, ami ho kahar nahi kohilo nishchoy. Eka ami dui nahi shakal amar, kohite nayane bohe abirata dhar. The Lord replied, "I have no one in this world, and I do not belong to anyone. I tell you this fact. I am alone with no companion. The entire world is mine. As the Lord spoke, incessant tears flowed from his eyes. Gaudiya Bhashya. In the Katha Upanishad 2.12, it is stated, Eko Vashti Bhutantaratma. Sorry. He is the supreme controller, the super soul in everyone's heart. In the Shvetashvatara Upanishad 6.11 and Gopal Tapani Uttar 97, it is stated, Eko Deva Sarabhuteshu Gura. The one supreme Lord resides hidden within all living entities. Dani bole Goshai Koroho Shubha Tumi Esobar Dana Paile Chari Divo Ami. The toll collector said, O Goshai, you may go. I will let these persons go after they pay taxes. That wasn't very well. Anyways, Mahaprabhu was absorbed in ecstasy. You may go, but I'll let these persons go after they pay taxes. Gaudiya Bhashya. Long ago, when someone passed through the jurisdiction of a landlord, toll collectors would demand taxes from them. When Śrī Gaurasundar was traveling with his 6 devotees, he had no assets with him. Since none of them had anything even to pay toll taxes, they considered they were traveling under the protection of Śrī Gaurasundar. Then one toll collector even demanded toll tax from Gaurasundar, just as Harishchandra had demanded cremation fees for his own son. He firmly declared that no one would be allowed to continue the journey to Jagannātha without paying the toll tax. But when he saw Mahaprabhu's extraordinary form, he asked, How many people are with you? In reply, the Lord said, I have taken sannyāsa from relationships with people of this world. Therefore, no one of this world is mine, and I am not one of them. I am ekadvitiyam. I am one without a second. The entire world is mine. When the toll collector saw incessant tears flow from the Lord's eyes, he said, You do not have to pay taxes, but the others must. Shubha korilen Prabhu Govinda boliya, koto dure shobha chhadi boshilen giya. The Lord walked down the road chanting Govinda. He left the others behind and sat down in the distance. Sava pari hari Prabhu korila gaman, hari she bishad hoilen bhaktagan. When the Lord left everyone and continued on, the devotees became despondent in their despondent in their happiness, in their unhappiness. Right? Yeah. Yeah. Dekhiya Prabhur ati nirapekha khela, anyonye sarvagane hasite lagila. On seeing the Lord's pastime of complete detachment, they all began to laugh among themselves. I guess Harishe means, okay, so I guess to say despondent in their happiness. So they all began to laugh among themselves, seeing the Lord's complete detachment. Pache Prabhu Shabach Hari Koren Gaman, Eteke Bishad Ashi Dhori Lekaman. Yet they were unhappy because they feared that the Lord might leave them, that he might leave them all and go. Nityananda Sabha Prabhu Dhena Chintanai, Ama Sabha Charyana Jayan Goshai. Nityananda, however, solaced them. He said, Do not worry. The Lord will not go anywhere without us. Tani bole tomra to sannyasir naho, eteke amar she uchita dana deho. The toll collector said, You are not with the sannyasi, so you should pay the proper fees. Kotadure prabhusha parshara chariya, heta matha kori matra kanden boshiya. After leaving his associates behind, the Lord sat down in the distance and began to cry with his head between his knees. Kashta pashandi drave shuni she krandan, Adbhuta dekhiya dani bhave mone mon. Even wood and stone would melt on hearing such crying. When the toll collector saw that wonderful sight, he began to consider. Dani bole e purush nara kabu nahe, manusher nayane ki eto dhara bohe. The toll collector thought, this person is certainly not an ordinary human being. Can a human being shed such tears? Sabare jigyase dani pranati koriya, ke tumra kar log kohoto banghiya. The toll collector then respectfully asked the devotees, who are you? Who is your leader? Tell me the truth. Shabe bolilen oi Thakur Shabar, Śrī Krishna Chaitanya Nam Shuniya Chojan. They all replied, he is the Lord of all. You must have heard his name, Śrī Krishna Chaitanya. Shabe unhar bhritya amra shakal, kohite sabar anki wahi pore jal. We are all his servants. And as I said that, tears flowed from their eyes as they spoke these words. Dekhiya sabar prem mugda hoilo dani, danir nayana dui vahi pore pani. The toll collector became astonished on seeing their ecstatic love, and tears flowed from his eyes. Ate byate dani giya prabhur charane, dandavata hoi bole binoy vachane. He hurriedly went and fell at the Lord's lotus feet, offered obeisances, and spoke with humility. Koti koti janme jata achilo mangal, toma dekhi aji purna hoilo shakal. Seeing you is the fulfillment of whatever piety I've accumulated in millions of lifetimes. Aparad kama koro karuna sagar, chalo nila chala giya deko ho satvar. O ocean of mercy, please forgive my offenses. Go quickly to Nilachal and see your Lord. Tani pratikori prabhu shubha drishtipat, hari boli choli len sarva jivanat. After casting his merciful glance on the toll collector, the Lord of all living entities chanted the name of Hari and departed. Sabar kori begor sundar udhar, vina papi vaishnava nindak durachar. Gaurasundara will deliver everyone except the sinful, ill-behaved offenders of Vaishnavas. Gaudiya Bhashya. Some non-Vaishnavas think that Vaishnavas are capable of becoming implicated in sinful activities like themselves. Since Gaurasundara accepted sinners, why shouldn't Vaishnavas indulge in sinful activities? And why shouldn't sinners be allowed to act as Vaishnav gurus? The point that the author is making here is that Gaurasundara will deliver everyone, but he will never deliver those who blaspheme Vaishnavas, or those who commit sinful activities on the strength of chanting the holy names. What is that? That's nama balad yasya hi papa buddhir, right? That's the offense to the holy name. No matter how nicely the atheists who approve of sinful activities may imitate the dress of devotees and advertise themselves as Vaishnavas or gurus, there is no possibility for ill-behaved atheists who blaspheme Vaishnavas to attain any perfection other than self-deceit. Even inimical demons have attained Śrī Chaitanya Dev's mercy. Yet the envious, sinful atheists will never depend on Śrī Gaurasundara's mercy, and they will expose themselves as proud pseudo-devotees of Gaur, and thus they will become travelers on the path to hell. Ashur Dravila Chaitanya Guna Name, Atyanta Dushkriti Papi She Nahi Mane. Even demons were transformed by hearing the qualities and names of Lord Chaitanya. Only the most sinful miscreants do not accept him. Henamate Nilachale Vaikunter Nath, Aisena Sabare Koriya Drishtipat. In this way, the Lord of Vaikuntha glanced mercifully on everyone as he continued on his way to Nilachal. Nija Premanande Prabhu Patanahi Jane, Aharnisha Shuvival Prema Rasa Pani. In his own ecstatic love, the Lord did not know which way to go. Day and night, he was overwhelmed from drinking the mellows of ecstatic love, Prema Rasa Pani. E mate Mahaprabhu chaliya asite, koto dine utarila Suvarṇarekhāte. While traveling in this way, Mahaprabhu arrived in a few days at the Suvarṇarekhā River. Gaudiya Bhashya. Mahaprabhu came to one particular village on the bank of the Suvarṇarekhā River. Gaurasundar arrived at the place on the bank of the Suvarṇarekhā River, where all travelers to Jagannath Purī cross the river. Suvarṇarekhār jal parama nirmal. Snan korilena Prabhu Vaishnava Shakal. The Lord and the Vaishnavas took their bath there in the most pure waters of the Suvarṇarekhā River. And Suvarṇarekhā means, right? Beautiful, like golden line, right? Rekha is a line, so like the golden river, though. Beautiful golden river. Snan kori Suvarṇarekhā nadi dhanya kori. Cholilen Śrī Gaurasundar Narahari. Śrī Gaurasundar, who is Lord Hari in the form of a human, made the Suvarṇarekhā glorious by taking bath in her waters, and then continued on his journey. Rohila aneka pache Nityananda Chandra Sanghati tahar shabe Śrī Jagannātha. Nityananda, in the company of Śrī Jagannātha, fell far behind. Kota dure Gora Chandra boshilen giya, Nityananda swaruper apekha koriya. Gora Chandra went some distance ahead and then sat down to wait for Nityananda Swarup. Chaitanya aveshe matta Nityananda rai, vivaler matto vyavasai sarvathai. Lord Nityananda was always restless and intoxicated from being absorbed in thoughts of Lord Chaitanya. Hari Bol. Sudevi Didi and Hari Hari. Sorry. So Nityananda was always restless and intoxicated, right, from being absorbed in thoughts of Lord Chaitanya. Kokona hunkar kore, kokon urodhan, kone maha atahasya, kone ba garjan. Sometimes he roared loudly, and sometimes he cried. Sometimes he laughed loudly, and sometimes he made thundering sounds. Kone ba nadir maje edeno santar, kone sarva ange dhula maken apar. Sometimes he would swim in the middle of the river, and sometimes he would smear dust all over his body. Kone baje achara kayen prem rase, turna hoy angaheno sarva loke base. Sometimes in ecstatic love, he would fall so forcefully to the ground that everyone would think his limbs were broken. Apana apani nritya koren kokon, tolamala koroye prithvi totokon. Sometimes he danced on his own, and the earth would then sway. Sometimes he danced on his own, and the earth would then sway back and forth. Tolamala. E shakal kotha tane kichu chitra noy, avatirna apane ananta mahashai. All such pastimes are not so astonishing for him, for he was Lord Ananta appearing in this world. Nityananda kripai e shav shakti hoy, niravadi gora chandra jahar hridoy. All these pastimes were possible by Nityananda Prabhu's mercy, for Gaurachandra constantly resides in his heart. Nityananda Swarupe Tuiya Ekasthane Cholila Jagannātha Bikha Anveshane. While Nityananda Prabhu waited at one place, Jagannātha went out to beg alms. Thakure danda Śrī Jagannātha bohe, danda tui Nityananda Swarupere kohe. Thakure danda man dio savadhane, bikha kori ami ho Ashibo e kane. So, yeah, so Nityananda waited at one place and Jagannātha went out to beg alms. Then Sri Jagannātha, he generally carried the Lord's daṇḍa. He handed that daṇḍa to Nityananda Swarup and said, please take care of the Lord's daṇḍa. And Manodio Savadhane, please take care, like take care of the Lord's daṇḍa very carefully. Mandio, like, yeah. I will return in a few minutes after begging alms. Hare Krishna, Amit Dandekar. Ate vyate Nityananda danda dhori kore, boshilen shestane vibal antare. With an agitated heart, Nityananda grabs the danda and sat down there. Uh-oh. What's gonna happen? Danda hatte kori hase Nityananda rai. Dander sahita katha kohen lilai. Holding the danda in his hand, Lord Nityananda laughed. As his pastime, he then spoke to the danda. Ohe danda ami jare bohiye hridaye, she tomare bohibek eto jukta nahe. O danda, it is not proper that he whom I carry within my heart should carry you. Gaudiya Bhashya. From the time Sri Gaurasundar accepted sannyas, he was keeping his danda with him. But sometimes Jagannātha Prabhu would carry Mahaprabhu's danda while going out to beg alms. Accepting the responsibility of carefully protecting Mahaprabhu's danda, Śrī Nityānanda Prabhu took the danda from Jagannātha and said to the danda, we always carry Sri Krishna, the Lord of the 14 worlds, within our hearts. We are his eternal servants. You are committing an offense by making that Lord your carrier. Therefore, it is most inappropriate for us to carry whatever symbols of accepting rules or renouncing restricted things that Sri Krishna in the form of a devotee has taken in his hands and on his shoulder. O danda, do not try to become the Lord of my Lord. Do not engage Mahaprabhu in carrying you anymore. The Prakrit Sahajya so-called devotees engaged Krishna in supplying their sense gratification by demanding religiosity, economic development, and sense gratification and liberation from him. This is not the mentality of devotees. Ataboli Balaram Parama Prachanda Helilen Dandabhangi Koritina Khanda. After speaking in this way, the most powerful Balaram broke the danda into 3 pieces. Gaudiya Bhashya. There's a reason why he broke it into 3 pieces. I'm going to read that now. Wow, that's a long Gaudiya Bhashya. Whoa, very long. We're ending here though. Oh no, we're not even reading this Gaudiya Bhashya. We're done. Okay. All right, that's our reading for today. Haribol. I mean, there is still 10 minutes, but it's very late at night for Krishna Mai Didi and probably some others. So I don't want, I'm going to try to keep these readings a little bit shorter than we usually do. Yeah, all right. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hari bol, Hari bol, Hari bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari bol, Hari bol, Hari bol, Nitai Gaur, Hari bol. It's kind of, I think it's kind of nice to end on a cliffhanger like that. Now we have, okay. Jai Shri, I'll just do a short, no, I'll do the normal Jai Dwani. Jai Shri Guru Gauranga Gandharvika Giridhari Shri Radha Vinod Bihari Ju Ki Jai. Shri Govinda Gopinath Maran Mohan Ju ki jai. Nitya Lila Pravishta Vishnupada Shrimad Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Nitya Lila Pravishta Vishnupada Shrimad Bhaktivedanta Vaman Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Nitya Lila Pravishta Vishnupada Ashta Rashita Shrimad Srila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nitya Lila Pravishta Vishnupada Ashta Rashita Shrimad Srila Bhakti Vigyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj ki jai. Nitya Lila Pravishta Vishnupada Ashta Rashita Shrimad Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada ki jai. Nitya Lila Pravishta Maha-Bhagavat Srila Gaurkishora Babaji Maharaj ki jai. Nitya Lila Pravishta Srila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur ki jai. Nitya Lila Pravishta Vaishnav Sarvabhauma Srila Jagannātha Babaji Maharaj ki jai. Shri Rupanu Gauriya Guru Varga ki jai. Shri Rup Sanatan Bhatta Raghunath Shri Śrī-Gopāla Bhattadasa Raghunath Shāra Goswami Prabhu ki jai. Shri Sarup Damodar Rai Ramanandari Shri Gaur Parshad Vrinda ki jai. Namachay Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासरी गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री क्षेत्र मंडल गौर मंडल ब्रज मंडल मथुर वृंदावन धाम की जय। सर्व अभिष्ट प्रदाता गिरिराज महाराज की जय। श्री राधा कुंज श्याम कुंज की जय। श्री यमुना देवी गंगा देवी की जय। श्री तुलसी महारानी वृंद देवी की जय। श्री भक्ति देवी की जय। श्री पूर्णमासी योगमाया की जय। श्री गोपेश्वर महादेव की जय। श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। जय श्री चैतन्य भागवत की जय। श्रील वृंदावन दास ठाकुर की जय। The Gaudiya Bhashya of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada ki jai. All the associates of Mahaprabhu ki jai. Mahaprabhu's journey through Orissa ki jai. Jai. Nityananda Prabhu's breaking Mahaprabhu's danda ki jai. Danda bhanga ki jai. Jai Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai. Samagata Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Śrī Nityānanda Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Vrindai Tulsi Devai Priyai Keshavashacha Krishna Bhakti Pradadevi Sattvatai Namo Namaha. Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Dandava pranams, everybody. Haribol, Nri Hari Prabhu, Vaitaraṇī Mataji, Shubhananda Prabhu, Satya Mataji, Gopal Ghanasham Prabhu, Krishna Mai Didi, Champak Mataji, and then on YouTube and Facebook, Raseshwari Mataji, Ganga Mataji, Hari Priya Didi, Charu Didi, Madhusudan Prabhu, Rasa Priya Didi, Vidyalalasa Didi, Hari Hari, what's your name? Hari Hari, huh? That's a neat name. Sudevi Didi, Amit Tandikar, and all the other devotees. I see there are many devotees there today. Hare Krishna, everybody. Thank you so much for joining, and I'll see you all tomorrow. I don't know what we're reading about tomorrow. I think maybe Mahaprabhu entering the Jagannath Mandir. We'll see. But yeah, Jai Ho, Hari Bol. I think that these are my last 2 days here. Yeah, these are my last 2 days here in Navadvip. And then I'm going to shift over to Mayapur. And I'll stay. Yes, Shubhananda Prabhu. Also, you're, I didn't get a chance to message you yesterday, but yeah, I'm very excited to meet you in Mayapur. All right. Dandava pranams, everybody. See you all tomorrow. Jai Shri Radhe. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Radhe Radhe.
Radhe Radhe.
Very well, Prabhu.
Hare Bol, Shubhananda Prabhu. Dandava pranams.